I mean, still to this day, whenever I see a new artist that's young that blows up and becomes gigantic overnight, I kind of get worried for him. I don't think anybody's cut out for it.
How did you do up there?
I was the kid with long hair in my face behind drums that look like washing machines, and I could walk in the front door of a Nirvana gig and not really get noticed. So I didn't have to suffer a lot of the pressures that Kurt did as the front man.
It was a 4-year rocket ship ride aboard what became one of the biggest bands in rock history. At the height of it all, in 1994, Cobain took his own life.
Where are you right after Kurt dies?
Just lost. I went through a really dark period where I couldn't really even listen to the radio because it broke my heart just to hear music.
But quietly, the 25-year-old Grohl began to write and record songs of his own, playing all the instruments.
I went to the cassette place down the street, said, could you make 100 of these? And made a little card to go in it.
Yeah.
And I just started giving it out to people. And I called it Foo Fighters because I wanted people to think it was a group.
He took the name from the military term for UFOs.
I mean, I've always kind of been a UFO nut, but I also, it almost sounded like a gang, you know,
does.
like a karate gang or something like that. So, yeah, it worked.
In 1995, those songs were released as the first Foo's album.
Well, I talked about it, put it on.
How would you describe the dynamic of this band?
Dave's the leader, and our job as the band is to make sure whatever in his head gets on the tape.
Along the way, he recruited Hawkins and Jaffe.
Everybody's speechless.
Chris Shiflett on lead guitar, Nate Mendel on bass, and guitarist Pat Smear, who was a touring member of Nirvana.
Has the Nirvana experience, do you think, informed Dave's approach to this band?
Yeah, I think it did a lot. He was smart enough to pull out the good and say, I'm going to do things like this, and to look at the bad and say, I'm not going to do this kind of stuff.
Have there been moments this band has been in trouble?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
2001.
That year, Taylor Hawkins nearly died after a heroin overdose. He spent 2 weeks in a coma, and Grohl did not leave his side.
Were you aware he was there every day?
Yeah, that was heavy time, but he was always there, and he's always been there.
That's when you forget about the band.
Doesn't matter anymore.
No, that's when it gets real. I mean, there are times where I'll get a call from the manager, hey, you got an offer to play this huge gig, and blah, blah, blah. And I have to ask my daughter, hey, I know this is, you know, the day after your birthday, but should I play this show or not? She's like, absolutely not. That's the day after my birthday.
Yeah.
I gotta call my manager and say, sorry, gotta do it. I've had some pretty ridiculous, there was once when the girls' school had the daddy-daughter dance. And it was on a day off in between Adelaide and Perth.
And you flew back for it?
Gotta do what you gotta do, you know?
You were insecure about your voice at first.
I wish that I could sing like John Lennon or Adele or Josh
That would
Groban
sound pretty
or
strange.
whatever, you know? Like, I wish I could. But, you know, I was raised on some really dissonant, noisy, crazy punk rock.
Yeah.
So a lot of my favorite vocalists, most people wouldn't consider singers. They just belt it out, just scream their brain. Yeah. But that raw passion in that is what I appreciated the most. Because I find beauty in imperfection. And it's something I love about our band. We have a saying in this band, if it gets any better, it's gonna get worse. And it took me years to get over trying to be, you know, a lead singer. It took me a while, and then I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna go out there and belt it out. And then it started getting fun. When I recorded what became the first Foo Fighters record, I didn't think it was a record. I just wanted to get up and go out and play something, even if nobody ever heard it. Long before then, I'd been recording songs on my own and never letting anyone hear them because I didn't really think they were that good. I didn't like my voice. I didn't think I was a songwriter, and I was in a band with one of the greatest songwriters of our generation. So I didn't really want to like rock the boat. I mean, that's the famous joke, because what's the last thing the drummer said before he got kicked out of the band? Hey guys, I got some songs I think we should play, you know? And so I just kind of kept it to myself. But there was someone that we knew from Seattle that after Kurt died wrote me this card and said, I know you don't feel it now, but someday the music's gonna come back and that's what's gonna heal you. And I remember reading it thinking, like, I can't even imagine being in that place. And over time, I got back there